Welcome to the kitchen where we make everything but pasta. Eid is just around the corner and I'm on a roll here. This morning I made those chocolate cookies and this afternoon I'm trying to make this whole wheat flour sweetmeat, and I have never made this before. My mom always makes it and I just enjoy it. But today I am going to try it. I have the recipe and I'm going to follow the recipe, but we'll see how it goes. So here I have some whole wheat flour, some semolina, and just a small amount of gram flour that I've put together. I have the jaggery here, which is where the sweetness comes from. I'm going to work with that. Here is some gum arabic and a mix of some pistachio, cardamom, nutmeg, saffron, and almonds here, and some evaporated milk. There's also some butter here. Let me try to make them and see how they turn out. So the first step is to combine the flour, the semolina, and the gram flour. Make a dough with half a cup of melted butter. So I'm going to add the I've melted the butter and I'm going to put the melted butter in here. And so I'm going to mix this butter in this dough. And then we are going to add 150 mils of the evaporated milk. And let's make the dough. The dough should be fairly hard because we're going to fold them into some fritters. And let's see, I still have 50 more mils to add here, hopefully. And she did say that if it's not enough, you can add a little bit of milk, but let's try to see if we can get this thing into a nice hard dough. Add just a tad more milk to this. I think it requires a little bit of milk. So maybe another 20 mils or so. I think it just needs to be incorporated enough that it stays together, which I think it's doing now. So this is fairly hard and I think that's the right consistency. We'll see. So all together I added 150 mils of evaporated milk and about 20 mils of the regular 2% milk. I feel that maybe I could use a little bit more. I may add just another maybe 5 more mils here. Get all the dough to stick together. Yep, I think this is about right. And you don't need to knead it too well because we are going to make little fritters with these things and fry them. So I think it's just as long as it holds together its shape, then we're good. Let me show you how to do these. You get about a handful and just make it into these. You don't want them to be too thick because you do have to fry them and you want to make sure they're cooked all the way through. So you just make them into these little fritters or little cup-like things. Then we'll fry them. I'm using about 45 grams for these fritters or these little cup-like things. I'm going to continue making them all first and then we will fry them. While I'm forming these cups, I'm going to start the oil on a medium-high heat so that it's ready when I'm finished doing these. Well, the muthiya is ready and now we are going to fry them. The temperature right now is about 315 degrees, which is where I want to fry these at. So I'm going to start putting them in. So these look like they are ready, just nice and golden. We don't want them to be any darker than this. And I'm just going to remove it in a bowl. Now I'll continue finishing up with the rest of these. Next, I'm going to fry the gum arabic. Once you put it in, it starts puffing up. You just take it out quickly as soon as it's puffed. So I'm going to do that and then put it aside for our next step. Now we do need to chop this jaggery. So I'm just going to take a knife and just, this should be fairly easy to do. Shouldn't be too hard. The muthiyas have cooled off a little bit, so I'm now going to break them into small pieces and put it in a blender and blend it into a really nice fine powder. So here I have ground all the muthiyas now, and it made into a nice fine powder. It's still quite warm, and you want to work it when it's still warm. Then let's finish the next steps and add the liquid ingredients to it so that we can roll them into these nice round balls called the LADVAs. Now we're going to fry the jaggery in the butter. So I'm going to turn the stove on to a medium high. Here is our half a cup of butter. We're going to melt it in here. So once the butter is melted, we're going to add the jaggery to it. We're going to add our chopped jaggery to it. Now we're going to cook this until it starts to froth. So this may take a little bit of time for it to all melt, and so I'm going to continue with this, and then we'll add the milk to it and then the gum arabic. So now all the jaggery has melted. This looks like it's frothing enough. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit and add this milk. This is 150 mils of milk that we had saved from before, and we'll cook this for about a minute. And then we'll add gum arabic that we had fried before and turn it down. So we'll let this thing cool for about 2 to 3 minutes while we prepare our dry ingredients together. So now I'm going to add to this mix these muthiyas that we have blended and made into a nice fine powder. 2.5 teaspoons here of a saffron, nutmeg, almonds, pistachio, and cardamom. And you can always add more, if you like to have more. Maybe I'll add a couple more tablespoons. I buy a pre-made mix, but it's basically a mix of cardamom, nutmeg, almonds, pistachios, and saffron. Okay, and then to this I am going to add that jaggery mix with butter. Now this will be very hot, so maybe in the first mix I am going to use this spatula to combine, and then after that I will use my hands. Let it cool just a tad. You do have to roll them when it's still warm, so I can't let it get too cool, but I think it's just a little bit hot to the touch right now. Yeah, I'm going to give it a few minutes to cool off, then I'm going to roll it. And once I've rolled them, I'm going to dip them in some white poppy seeds, just to give it a little bit of a texture on the top. So let's see. They are quite buttery. I'm actually just going to grab a little bit of this poppy seed in my hand and just roll it, because I don't think I like it that it has too much on it. So just a hint of it. So I'm going to now roll the rest of them. Do leave a comment below if you would like me to try any other Indian desserts. I think this should make about 30 of these ladwas. I have to say that there are quite a few steps in making these, so it's not something I would want to make it all the time, but they are not very difficult. So here we have our CHURMA ladvas, or our whole wheat flour sweetmeat. Look at how beautiful they look. I'm going to cut it in half so you can see what it looks like on the inside. All the nuts and the saffron and all the deliciousness is in there. I can't give you the taste test right now since I'm fasting, but once I'm done at night, I'm definitely going to enjoy one. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more delicious recipes. Thanks for watching. Bye.